A few minutes later, he was ready to change off to his train. Stanley buffered up slowly and carefully to the train. I just don't understand, said Stanley. What's gotten them all upset about the turntable? It was James who started the entire rumor, said Mitchell. James? Of course. He said the turntable was too short for just tender engines to use. I don't blame him. Soon, he might say that the tank engines will be taken over, just like how diesels took over for us. And I don't blame them. Diesels are our replacements. Diesels just are our replacements. And if we're going to replace a tender engine, so be it. I don't want to replace a tender engine, said Stanley. I respect them. Edward would have been more nicer if he said if this was where he was. Edward would just calm the engines down. He agreed with Gordon when Rocky arrived. And now look at him. He's gone, said Mitchell. That doesn't mean you just have to be upset about the turntable. It's newfangled nonsense. You can't trust anything that's like that. You must. Sometimes it's okay to try new things, said Stanley. Well, if you're not going to agree with us, then maybe I shouldn't be your friend, said Mitchell. And Mitchell set off, angrily with his post train. Hey, Mitchell, come back! I'm sorry, okay? It's just true. Stanley was upset. What did I do to deserve this? Nothing, I suppose, said a voice. Stanley looked. Sir Topham Hatt was there next to the other platform. He heard everything. So this rumor has started to make the engines hate the new turntable. Am I correct? Yes, sir, you are. This has gone long enough. Stanley, I know that you respect the turntable, but the others don't. I want to make them respect the turntable too. Thank you, sir. But it's hopeless against an army of engines. Well, just you and me. If only there was one thing that we can do, said Stanley. The guard blew his whistle, and Stanley puffed sadly out of Knapford with his train. If only there was something we can do. The next day, Stanley was resting in the yards. Ginty was organizing goods trains for the other engines. And the engines were working really hard due to Edward's disappearance. Ginty was still working, but Stanley was still thinking about the turntable. If only there was one thing we can do for you, he said to the turntable. But before he was going to say anything else, he heard an angry whistle. There came an angry, seething engine. The engine turned out to be James. He was redder than ever and was ready to take another train, but not the one he loved. A freight train, he said angrily. A freight train, indeed, he said. Now, James. It's manager's orders. Let's get ready. Hey, Bob, said a voice. Can you come get some papers for me? Oh, sure. Be right there. The driver and fireman then left. But what they forgot to do was set James's brakes on properly. Without the brakes, there was nothing they can do. James was waiting anxiously. But then there was trouble. Slowly after his driver left, his wheels began to move. "Hey, driver," he asked. "What's happening?" Stanley was surprised. James was reversing. "James, you have no driver," he said. "No driver! Help!" he yelled. "Driver, what do we do?" The driver thought. "The turntable, that's it!" He then scrambled out of the cab. He then pulled the lever, which was a mount to switch the points to the turntable. At last, the points were switched. But there was something the driver forgot. The turntable wasn't in the right place. "Oh, good glory, what have I done?" he said. But it was too late to switch the points again. James went right past the points. James went right past the points. Slowly but surely, the turntable was making its place. It was almost close to James's line. James was almost close to the turntable. He hoped for the best. "Help!" he said. At last, the turntable was on the right line. James was switched onto the line. James was then running over the turntable. Up ahead was a switch with just buffers. James hoped for the best as his tender crashed through the buffers. Luckily, no one was hurt. Stanley was shocked. "Phew, that was close," he said at last. Rosie then arrived with the breakdown crane. James was lucky. Nothing on him was destroyed, except for his back buffers. Sir Topham Hatt was really happy with Stanley. "You are a really useful engine, Stanley. I'm proud to have you as a part of my railway." "Thank you, sir," said Stanley. And for the record, it was James who started the whole rumor about the turntable. "James, huh? James!" Sir Topham Hatt then ran crossly up to him. "So you were the one starting this whole thing about the turntable. You have caused complete confusion and delay. As a punishment, you'll be in the sheds for 20 days, straight, not coming out one bit." "But sir, it wasn't my fault, it was—" "I do not want to hear any more, okay? By my order, you will go to the sheds right now." "Yes, sir," said James. He didn't deserve this one bit. Soon, the new turntable turned out to be a success. Everyone on Sodor loved it. James, however, he stood quietly for the next days, ever regretting to talk about the turntable, or Stanley, or any other problems on the island of Sodor. Stanley was now happy about this. The rumor was gone, and now everything could be going peaceful on the island of Sodor once again.